It's been 10 years since the last solo Batman film, a great trilogy with equally great 4K transfers. Well, except for Batman Begins, but I've already talked about that. Can this new Batman movie, with all its controversial stylistic choices, make for another demo-worthy Batman 4K? With a 4K DI, it must be good. After so many dull and boring transfers, I must take a look for myself, as I am the purveyor of 4K. I am vengeance that strikes down upon shitty 4K transfers. I am the Muckbuster.
So what do you what do you think about that intro? I know I'm trying to change things up, make more fun with the these reviews. But yeah, the Batman on 4K Blu-ray. I have a bit of a history, as you can see by my decor. I absolutely love this film. I saw this movie 3 times in the theater, twice in IMAX, and once in the Dolby Cinema. So I know what this movie is supposed to look like. I've studied it on the big screen. So yeah, the Batman 2022, love this film. It was a breath of fresh air, very dark tone, and I love that. You know, everyone's like, oh, it's like 7 both Batman, and that's true. I mean, it goes back to harken on that Detective Comics. The reason why it's called Detective Comics is because, you know, Batman does some detective work, and it's a great movie. I highly recommend it. But let's talk about the 4K Blu-ray. So let's get into a little bit of tech specs. It is a 4K Blu-ray combo pack. I have the Steelbook edition, so it comes with the 4K Blu-ray, the standard Blu-ray, and the digital code. This is a 2160p HEVC render. This does have Dolby Vision HDR and HDR10+. This was shot in 4.5 and 6K, rendered in 4K. This is 175 minutes, a very long movie, and it is 239 by 1, so you will be getting those black letterbox bars. You know, when it comes to audio, the audio formats are English Dolby Atmos and French Dolby Digital 5.1, as well as Spanish Digital 5.1. So to get the controversy, the elephant in the room aside, yes, I would say this is not the cleanest and sharpest image on 4K Blu-ray today. This is no Spider-Man No Way Home, but the style just bleeds in this 4K transfer. You know, this was filmed on old style lenses. Matt Reeves commissioned Ari to build these lenses specifically for the Ari Alexa that have these old-timey feels, because he had these lenses and say, hey, I love these old school lenses, can we make these to fit on these new 4K 6K cameras? They said sure, and you can actually see it. I mean, you know, it has that really old grimy feel to it. You know, this also was printed on 35mm and then given a 4K scan, a 4.5 4K scan of that, similar to Dune. And so that's why it does look like an older film. I mean, but there is pros to it. The CGI specifically blends really well towards the film, and yes, there is grain because it was formatted onto 35mm, and yeah, there is scenes that are purposely not in focus. I remember watching it in the IMAX, and that scene when the mayor is drinking a glass of whiskey watching the TV, I'm like, is this in focus? Is this supposed to be in focus? Because I can't see shit. And yeah, it's supposed to, but I will say there is more clarity with this 4K as opposed to watching it in the theater. You know, having more pixel density and having a sharper image on a 4K, like, because I'm watching this on my 4K OLED TV, I can see better than when I watched it in the IMAX. And because of the style, there is a lot of vignetting and anamorphic distortion, so you're going to notice that, you know, a lot of the areas around this side and this side are very dark, and there's also, you know, it's usually a lot blurry. It can be very blurry at times, this film. And you know, this may hinder some people's experience if they are expecting this clean, crisp 4K transfer, because this is, you know, a movie that came out in 2022 with a brand new 4K, with filmed in 6K. It's not really that sharp, but you are actually going to get some really impressive sharp details. Close-ups and surprisingly wide shots have very sharp details, makeup details, raindrops, like that first scene when when those gang members are about to beat up, when they're wearing that like not clown makeup, but that like skull black and white makeup. You're able to see the makeup clearly. That Doug Walker looking character, you can see like his wrinkles in between the makeup and stuff. So it is quite sharp. There are moments. This isn't just like a blurry, smudgy movie. There are hints of brilliance and sharpness. And again, raindrops. It rains a lot in this film, and seeing the raindrops trickle down people's coats, on the mask and stuff like that, it looks absolutely great. You can see all the water droplets. It looks crazy. And that scene where that guy goes into the Good Time like the Good Time supermarket, or that bodega, and it has that shot of the Good Time mask. Dude, you can see like the dimples and all that stuff in the mask and stuff. There's details within the mask too, and it's just like, wow, there's some attention to detail. Very stylistic, but there's still some good 4K detail and sharpness to this film. And when it comes to close-ups on faces specifically, you can see visible dimples and details. The eye makeup looks great. You can see the wrinkles in between and the little skin imperfections and stuff like that through the makeup, so that's really nice. And you're able to see his stubble shining against the light. It is sharp, so you're gonna see some stubble. You can see each individual hair, so there is really good 4K-ness. 4K-ness, I don't know. Every cop has a mustache, and you can the mustaches are very nice looking. Gordon's mustache and Falcone's mustache, you can see the white hairs peek out. It's not just a black thing, so there is more detail towards this transfer. And what's cool is that Batman, he gets punched in the face a lot, and you can really see it, whether it's the scars on his body. Like, he gets into a lot of fights, so you can see the scars on his body, on his face, and even the mask. The mask has a lot of distress, and you can see cuts around the eyes, around the mouth, ruffling up, scratches and stuff. You can see all that. It looks great. The bat suit is full of detail. You can see each individual rivet and, plate and all that stuff, from the armor-piercing bullets to the rubber so he can move and stuff like that. It looks absolutely great. Not even that, but just the clothing in general looks great in this film. You're able to see frayed fabric, folds within stuff, and stitch work is very nice. Catwoman's makeshift mask, you can see that, you can really tell that she took a pair of scissors and got a ski mask and cut out the eyes, cut out the mouth, and when she's peering against light, you can see the cotton frays peeking out. That looks really nice. Makeup looks really great. Not even just like obvious makeup like black eyeliner and the white face paint, but like the special effects makeup. When you see the Penguin, he has really great prosthetics on, and you can really see it in full detail when it comes to like the scarring, the pock marks and all that stuff. Even he has some facial stubble. It looks really good. Wide shots of the city look very nice as well. It really immerses you in the storytelling of Gotham. It has this gritty rawness. You can see trash and stuff moving. It looks great. But there is not really, when it comes to normal scenes of people, within a background, like in a scene, not just a wide shot of like a panning establishing shot, but like with people talking and stuff, Batman purveying certain things, you're not really going to get that much dimension and that depth that I was really hoping for due to the anamorphic lenses. There's going to be in focus shot, and then everything else is distorted and blurry, so you're not really going to get that immersive, fully depth feel. But there is some shots that are good, especially close-ups. Things like the Riddler's card. When he picks it up, you can see that the Riddler really wrote down the insignias and the words hard. You can see the three-dimensional feel of the paper going inwards while you know what I'm trying to say? And as things like the card having embossing and debossing, you can really tell that has a lot of depth to that. As well as, there's a few scenes with explosions and flames, and they look absolutely amazing. So that was the 4K image quality. Now let's get to the HDR, because this was one of the biggest things I was questioning about, because this is an extremely dark film. This is a very dark film, and I was kind of sus on what the black levels will look like, and honestly, it's not great. I mean, black levels are more on the gray side, and there's still crush to them, because I think that's what they were trying to go for. Comparing the 4K Blu-ray to the theatrical IMAX and Dolby cinemas, this was definitely more of a clear image than compared to projection, especially with my 4K OLED TV. But again, it's still, there's a lot of scenes where it should be inky black, where I'm expecting it to be inky black, but it's more of a gray, and there's still, like crushed detail. You can't really spot out a lot of stuff when it comes to dark details. There is some things like Batman's suit, but again, it is more of a grayish, it's not really a like pitch black feel to it. And colors aren't as vibrant as I was expecting. I'm not saying they're dull, but like scenes like when they like those panning shots across Times Square, there, Gotham's Times Square, they weren't as, vibrant as I was expecting. Now, I'm not expecting it to be over contrasted, but when you look at certain transfers, like the taxi driver transfer, when he's just driving past, like, signs and stuff, and there is a scene where it takes place in Times Square, that looks very nice and vibrant. This doesn't really have that feel, I think, because most of it is CGI, so it's not going to have that natural vibrancy to them. But I mean, there's still some good colors in this. Neon signs look really punchy, as well as police lights, and that first scene where he uses the green light bulb when it turns on, you get that really vibrant green to it, and it looks, that emerald green to it, and it looks really nice. When it comes to just normal facial complexion, you're able to see people's, they're alive, they have redness, you can actually see their skin tone. Skin tone looks great, it's not hiding, it doesn't have a cold feel to it. People don't look dead. There is actual liveliness to their face. What's cool is that when people are looking at screens or there's a light that has a color to it, it leaves a nice natural hue to it, so it doesn't look like someone's pointing like a colored light to it. But obviously when you look at a screen that's like red, it'll leave that impactor green or blue. It has that nice natural feel to it while keeping the skin tone intact, which was really cool. Like I always bring up that Sicario scene when she goes to the bar and there's like a blue, green, whatever light shining on her. If you see the Blu-ray, it looks like they just shined a blue light, but in the 4K it looks like it's a part of the environment. So that looks really good. Reds and greens are the big standout. Reds, greens, and blues are, well, I mean, that's RGB, right? But when it's like statically like red or green or blue, those look really good. When Selena Kyle is wearing that red wig, and like in that first confrontational like wear a club scene, that looks really good. It looks very vibrant, punchy. You can see each individual like strand of the wig. It looks really nice. Overall the color palette is nice, but it is very gray and beige-ish, orange-ish feel to it. It is a warmer feel to it, but it does have some colder moments with, blues and stuff. But overall, it's a grayish, beige color palette. Now let's get into the audio, and I believe this is the best part of the, 4K experience. I watched this in IMAX twice, and that was eargasmic. This movie is, the sound design is great, and when you watch things at home, if you don't have a huge setup, you don't really get that same effect with it. And I have a normal setup, but even with that, the Dolby Atmos audio sounds great. I mean, it's a full array, 3-dimensional spatial audio. You'll have scenes where audio will start from the right and then move to the center and then go to the right, while other sort of, audio jingles around here and here and here. So it's not just a front boring like 2.0 soundtrack. You're gonna get really good spatial audio, and this already has a great sound. This movie has a great sound design, which is amplified by the Dolby Atmos track. One of the best just soundtracks, like musical soundtracks, very nice crescendos and all that stuff sound great with this audio transfer. Things like motorbikes have an aggressive rumble to it and pans throughout your speakers, and it goes throughout everywhere. Dialogue is clear and prominent, which is a huge relief, because one of my biggest gripes with the Nolan 4Ks, the Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, and even Batman Begins, is that some of the dialogue you can't really understand, and I have to use subtitles subtitles to watch those movies. This one, I did not have a single problem with that. Things like gunshots sound great. You can hear the difference of weapons, of whether it's an Uzi or a shotgun or a pistol or a submachine gun, and what surfaces is being hit. Like whether it's hitting glass and you hear the shatter, the crinkle, and hearing the pieces of the shattering glass drop, or whether it's like the fiberglass or the side of a door. You can hear that punchiness to it. It absolutely sounds great. And that warehouse scene with the chase scene, like with it, is demo quality sound audio. So if I had to give each individual ranking a score, the image quality is an 8 out of 10. Again, there is great sharpness to it, but I feel like there is this stylistic choice that some people might not be appreciative of, or they might not like it. It may not vibe with them. HDR is a 9 out of 10. Great colors. It's not the most vibrant film, but for what it is and what it does have really good high spots, and it looks really nice. Audio here is a 10 out of 10. This is going to be more for that audiophile, and you really want that rumbling sound, that gritty rawness, that you know, gives you that feeling in your chest. You're going to get this. If you have a huge Dolby Atmos setup with subwoofers and all that stuff, you're going to love this transfer. This is mainly for the audiophiles, you know, visual files, cinephiles, people who really care about visuals. This isn't going to be the best, most greatest 4K transfer, and they've done things like this better in Dune, where they, you know, printed it on 35 millimeter and then transferred it with a 4K DI. But you know, it does look good. It looks good, you know. It's not that it was a bad transfer or dull. It just, I feel like with the filmmaking strategy, with that stylistic choice, does it really feed well into 4K? Kind of. It's not going to blow you away. I wouldn't call this demo quality 4K. The audio is, but the 4K left a little bit more to be, you know, measured, specifically with, you know, vibrancy in certain colors. But again, that's kind of nitpicking. If you love this film, this is definitely the, you know, highest performance on to watch this film, and this does look better than the theatrical release. Again, I watched this in IMAX, and it looks better on my 4K OLED than it does on IMAX, which is crazy to believe. So yeah, image quality 8, HDR, I would say, actually I'd say it's an 8.5, and the audio is a 10. My final score would be an 8.5, more close to an 8 than a 9. There's still some great things about it. The audio is great. It's just, I just wanted more from it. And when comparing it to the Blu-ray, it does look a lot better. I mean, the color contrast, the, you know, being that this is not the most inkiest black of a film, I was a bit disappointed by that. So that's what docks it down a bit more. So yeah, 8. Actually, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I would recommend it if you really like this film, but would you go out of your way to get it? If you're a videophile, not really. If you're an audiophile, yes. I don't know. Anyways, it is better than the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is definitely grayer. It feels very gray, and it's not as sharp, you know, specifically with, you know, being that a lot of these scenes are you know, out of focus or very faintly in focus. That 4K really heightens up that that visual retention as opposed to the 1080p. So this is definitely worth an upgrade. And that was it. Thank you so much. Sorry, a bit long-winded. I just wanted to get all my opinions out there. And yeah, so that was my review of the Batman on 4K Blu-ray. Let me know down below, did you guys pick this up on 4K? Did you pass? Do you have it on Blu-ray? And let me know down below your thoughts on the movie and the 4K transfer. I have been Mace from the Mockbus YouTube channel. Please have yourself a good day, evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you watch this. Please leave a like and subscribe if you are into 4K reviews, hauls, pickups, hunting videos, all that stuff, unboxings, everything, action figures, NECA stuff. That is it. Thank you so much. I'm Mace from the Mockbus YouTube channel. Peace out, dogs. See you guys later. Bye.